Welcome back to the Elevate podcast, the thought leadership platform designed for behavioral health executives navigating growth, innovation, and impact. Today's episode is a little different. What you're about to hear was recorded live at the Recovery.com Marketing Summit 2026, where industry leaders came together to discuss the future of behavioral health marketing, patient acquisition, AI, and digital innovation. This panel features Signe Engelien, Director of Agency Partnerships at Recovery.com, Derek Hyman, CEO and founder of Scalable Growth, Adrienne Wilkerson, CEO of Beacon Media, and our own, Gary Garth, CEO of Elevate, sharing practical insights into what treatment providers should be doing today to build sustainable growth. From marketing attribution and AI visibility to building trust, improving the patient journey, and creating long-term growth strategies, this conversation is packed with actionable takeaways for behavioral health leaders. So let's jump into the agency perspective, real solutions for patient acquisition.
All right, up next is our very own Signe, our director of the Agency Partner Program. I don't know where Signe is. Here she comes. They are going to be talking about, she is with Derek with Scalable Growth, Adrienne with Beacon, and Gary with Elevate. They're going to be talking about the agency perspective on patient acquisition. So give them a round of applause. Love.
So right here in the center, I have Gary Garth. Gary is the founder and CEO of Elevate, a growth agency exclusively focused on helping addiction treatment and mental health providers increase patient access through innovative marketing, technology, and admission strategies. He's a serial entrepreneur, best-selling author, and 5-time Inc. 5000 honoree. Gary spent more than 15 years working alongside Google and Microsoft, helping over 5,000 businesses and empowering more than 200 marketing agencies to grow through digital advertising before dedicating his career exclusively to the behavioral healthcare back in 2020. Today, Gary is recognized voice of AI visibility, patient acquisition, and sustainable growth, helping treatment organizations connect more families with life-changing care. On the end here, we have Derek Hyman. Derek is the founder and CEO of Scalable Growth, where he helps treatment centers own their admissions pipeline instead of renting leads. He built the first real-time insurance verification tool on the treatment center website back in 2019. Impressive. Holds a master's degree in public health and measures everything by beds filled and not traffic. When he's not working, you'll find him and his family, his 2 dogs and cat, traveling or giving back to nonprofits like Napili. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay. And Beach Foundation. And then we have Adrienne Wilkerson. Welcome. Adrienne is the co-founder and CEO of Beacon Media and Marketing, an award-winning digital marketing agency renowned for its impactful work in the mental health and behavioral health sectors. A visionary leader and sought-after speaker, Adrienne is also a published author and podcast host, which is wonderful, who shares insights on leadership, ethical marketing, and a transformative role of AI in business. When she's not leading her team to success, Adrienne finds inspiration on her family's ranch, where her commitment to hard work and resilience fuels her mission to create lasting legacy of positive impact. Wonderful. So welcome our panelists here. Okay, so I'm going to close this out. Did y'all get a chance to vote? Okay, looks like you did. Thank you for doing that. All right, so you guys want to hear about solutions and strategies to start. All right. Okay. So what do your clients ask you if they should do that you're going to say no to? I want to go first.
I think one of the things that we end up dealing with a lot is they want to add a lot of bells and whistles of things. It seems like we tend to, somebody said it here, complicated is a barrier. And the more you can strip down the barriers, the more people are going to get the help they need. And so oftentimes it's about how do we make it as clean and as straightforward as possible. And again, it comes back to you have to create connection. And so again, the more complicated it is, people tend to just kind of bounce faster, whether that's a website or social or whatever. If you're trying to cram too much into social media posts, it's not going to stop the scroll. It's not going to be impactful. And I think that's something where we see a lot of times there's a lot of, we want to cram it full of credentials and acronyms and things like that. And it's like, that's not going to connect to the emotional need at that point, especially in the first touch or two. So that's something that one of probably many, but that's the first one that comes to mind for me.
I could go ahead. I'm going to make it a little bit more generic. At the end of the day, our partners come to us because they want us to help drive traffic and leads and missions, right? And not everything's going to do that. We get hired, our groups get hired because we are experts in our field and domains and understand what is going to help drive that traffic and put people in treatment. So just generically, when people are asking to do things that we fundamentally know aren't going to have a positive impact on traffic generation, lead generation, or ultimately admissions, which is their ultimate goal, we just have to draw that line. And it could be a variety of things, and we don't have to go into the details, but I think it's just holding them accountable for letting us do our job. And there's so many things you could do on your websites.
Yeah.
And so it's just being laser focused on what's important.
From my perspective, from my perspective, we get a lot of inquiries. Facilities come to us and say, I need help with SEO, Google Ads. They're very channel specific. And one of the reasons I went into the industry in the first place was just to create an impact and, help combat all these lead aggregators that Ben was talking about the other day, of all these false directories, all these body brokers, and the best providers get in front of the people that deserve the care they need. So we'd like to take a step back and say, well, first and foremost, you have the foundation in place. You have the plan attribution, have you established goals that if aligned with industry benchmark that are realistic, so it's operationally sustainable. Because we can't come and we say, let's have a recurrent.com profile and spend money on a Google Ads or anything else if your Google reviews are bad. There are people, it's a multi-touch point world across multiple devices. The path to admission is not straightforward. So there will be multiple touch points, and trust and the credibility has to be in place. So first and foremost, establishing the attribution framework to say, okay, what makes sense? Like, what is your desired cost per admit and which channels should we pursue as a result of your objectives? That's a better approach than saying specifically, I want to buy this. I need to shop this and this will solve my problems because I heard somebody else is very good. That would be my
Very good. Thank you. So what are some tactics that you're using that are delivering like the strongest results for your clients right now?
Go first since I have it. It's 2026. SEO digital marketing has evolved tremendously. Sounds like it's evolving even into 2040, like Jeremiah told us. At the end of the day, there's a lot of options out there on the internet. I don't know how many hundreds of pages of content that Dan's AI models have created about alcohol addiction. You guys, as your brands, need to differentiate yourself from everything else. We all have alcohol addiction content on our websites, and it's all probably very well written, or at least I hope it is. Your brand has to differentiate yourself from everybody else. So how do you tactically do that? You need to involve your clinicians to talk about how you're providing alcohol detox or addiction treatment. You need to, in the media, through digital PR efforts, you need to do research studies that are based off outcomes and real data and are unique to your treatment providers so that you can then tell the world why they should come to your treatment center and it's different than the one down the road. So tactically just separating yourself as a brand, as a clinical entity different from the rest. You used to be able to rank a website by gaming the system, for lack of a better word, do it in the right ethical way. Your clinical program has always been, but today it is the thing that you need to promote, and your website is just a lens into that. And so you need to promote that as much as you can on your website.
Yeah, great advice. I like to expand a little bit on that. I think a couple of things you could do immediately. One is from AI visibility standpoint. Dan was talking about it yesterday. Like 70-80% of all websites on right currently doesn't have a LMS.txt file or robust.txt. So basically, you're not discoverable. So ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, etc., can't really read your web. It's not possible to have a conversation like, where should I go? Who accepts this policy? They start asking if you can bring your laptop, you can have your cell phone open. Can I work while I'm there? What's the family counseling? Like it's very specific. It's not just straightforward to Google. And that is disabled if you don't have those foundations in place. And furthermore, like Jeremiah was talking about, your core web vitals has to be 10 out of 10. All components has to be in place in order to get preferred and get that visibility. And then when you write content, instead of just this tendency to write content for Google, right? Try to write content that can be refurbished. So if you write content, convert it into a podcast, then next into different reels, chop it up and interview. Now it's easier than ever. And now you have a multi-platform distribution strategy with different types of content that engages. And I mean, I can't remember who spoke about it, that only 3% of posts, for example, on LinkedIn gets visibility to your target audience. So what you think gets visibility is like just a drop in the bucket. So being consistent, making sure that it's authoritative. Everybody knows about Google's EAT guidelines that very much hold truth. It's not going to work to have some plagiarism content and copy pasting somebody else or doing ChatGPT. Have the reference to it's medically reviewed, have many sources, citations, and that gives that added credibility. And you do that consistently along with the right framework with the website, then you will get AI visibility. And I think that's the slam dunk. Everybody in this room can probably double like it's typically earned, owned, and paid media. Earned and owned, you should dominate, try to get as much as possible. And then on the paid, if you're paying for it, make sure you have conversion tracking attribution in place. So you can take all of these conversions and say, okay, this is our ideal patient profile with this payer mix, and then push it back to Google, ChatGPT ads when it comes, and say, this is the audience we're targeting. That's why Meta ads and Google ads can be so effective if set up properly, because they will start gaining visibility where there's the highest probability of them converting. They want to make more money, show your ads the most relevant, and they can enhance that signal if you feed it the right information, basically. So stop treating it like gaming the system, stop siloing your data, and consolidate it, push it back to the publishers and platforms, so you'll get very good returns as a result of it.
Love what both you guys are saying. Absolutely, 100%. Another angle on this, another point of view on this is we all know our user behavior has changed. I think we need to stop talking is changing. It has changed. And one of the things that we're seeing a lot is people's websites aren't keeping pace with the way that people are accessing and the point in the sales funnel that they're accessing websites. I think yesterday's, I forget who it was talking about, that old user behavior of, okay, Google gave me all these blue links. I'm going to go check that out. Then I'm coming back. I'm going to go check it out. I'm coming back. I'm going to go. We're not doing this for the most part anymore. And so people aren't hitting our websites in that research phase anymore. We're using AI for that research. So by the time people are hitting websites, they're most likely already, you're one of the top 3 or top 5, because AI's recommended you if you're doing your AI citations and recommendations correctly, which is a lot of what these guys have already talked about. So by the time they hit your website, they're looking for something different. They're looking for trust now. This is now about, okay, these are recommendations, great, but can I trust these guys? nobody likes to be sold, but we all want to buy. Relatively speaking, this is an interesting industry because nobody really wants to buy recovery, right? Nobody wants to be there. But if they're ready at that moment, you got to connect with them. So the content on the website has to be more human focused, more connection focused. So video bios for your providers instead of the standard written bios that start off with a whole list of credentials. They're not looking for credentials anymore. AI's already said this place is relatively, for the most part, we've already sorted through all these things. Now they're looking for human connection. So our content on our website needs to have 2 tracks. A lot of the content for articles and whatnot can be focused on AI citation, but there also has to be the point of human connection. And so it's reframing how we're writing that content. It's addressing the need. It's addressing the anxiety. It's addressing the fear on a deeper level than we've done in the past. Because in the past, a lot of it was, again, we're hitting people at a research stage on our websites historically. Now our websites have to connect. And that's a deeper level and a more human level. And again, that's where that empathy piece does not happen in AI unless we pull it out of AI, unless we're using AI to enhance the empathy that we want to come across in the content. And so we have to look at our content differently. And that's what's going to help part of the conversions on the website. So we're seeing a lot of not necessarily dips in traffic, but a lot of times dips in conversions because our content is still trying to hit them at the awareness stage. And they're not at the awareness stage often by the time they're hitting our websites anymore. They want connection there. So there's a shift even in that mindset. So really encouraging you, go back and look at your website. Have your agency go back and look at your website content. Is it connecting, or are you still trying to hit them at the awareness stage?
Nailed it. Okay, so I certainly know what keeps me up at night. I have a list of Rolodex that goes through my mind. I'm wondering, what is keeping your clients up at night? What challenges are they seeing? And I guess what solutions, how are you helping your clients, the treatment centers you work with? Derek, you want to go first?
I think reimbursements and all the disruption that's been occurring with payers is challenging. Like there's a predicted revenue, and then all of a sudden a channel seemed to be profitable, and then 30-40% less is paid out. So I think it's more about being less dependable on channels or specific strategies, and some diversification, so that more risk averse. Because I see it very often as like some facilities, like them putting all the money into Google Ads, and then I think Dan always used to refer to the Googleflation, right? So that you really want to put all your eggs in that basket, and it is difficult. So you have to have a multi-channel strategy. Ideally, I don't like working with purely out of network. It's like almost like fishing for tuna. You got to have 20 VOBs generated to get that one. And it can be viable if you have a fully dialed in process. So I think the biggest challenge is many facilities feels like they're whacking a mole, right? So we get the marketing going, and then, oh shit, we have an admissions problem, right? Leads are falling through the cracks. All of a sudden, there's not alignment between the BD admissions and marketing, and there's a war on attribution, fixing in your CRM, who got actually accredited for this, and a lot of wasted energy as a result of that, instead of creating a strategy that's in harmony and basically complementing one another. So diversification and a multi-channel strategy across the core patient acquisition teams can help a lot.
I agree with what Gary said. I think just the world that we live in, the operators, you guys out there, obviously the business side of what you're doing, it's expensive to operate a great clinical program. So obviously your marketing has to be on point. As Gary said, multi-touch. I'll go an extra step on top of that. a lot of folks have their board of directors, and we've talked a lot about AI in here, and boards are talking about AI, and oftentimes there's people on boards that don't necessarily know as much about marketing, but they're hearing about AI, and it's a hot topic, right? I think everybody in here knows that. I'm personally over AI. It's all over everything. Just a reminder for everybody, I agree with everything we've all talked about. I know it's the way of the future, as Jeremiah said, but it's like 95% of the search market is still traditional Google. And yes, Google is navigating to AI mode as the default and things like that. But if we center ourselves into where everybody is that we're trying to serve, it's still Google, generally speaking. I think it's important to be aware of the future. And at some point in the future, I personally believe websites aren't even going to be a thing. So the 100,000 pages or million pages of content that we talked about creating they'll exist, but they won't be on a website. Nobody's going to go to our websites in the future. Who knows when that is? I don't think it's next year. I don't think it's even a couple of years down the line, but content consumption will be just done in a completely different way. All that being said, the things that keep our partners up at night is trying to understand the AI world. We talk way too much about AI, and I think it's a distraction at times. My philosophy has always been, if you write great content, you do all the things that you've heard about over the last day and a half, separating yourself, differentiating yourself, creating the trust signals, using Google reviews to promote you, using your clinician's credibility to showcase who you are and what your treatment program is, using PR, digital PR to magnify your voice, your program through the media. AI is going to pick up on that and you'll be set up for success. But ultimately, the things that keep a lot of our partners up at night are things that I don't think are as relevant today. And I just try to keep them grounded on, let's stay focused on just creating amazing content, multi-channel distribution. What Gary said is absolutely right. Turn the resources and the work that you're doing into multiple channels so that you can maximize your ROI. Get photos of your program so you can use them on recovery.com, on your Google business profile, on your website. Try not to use stock imagery if you don't have to. And really, I like what you said about the video profiles. I think that's a really cool idea. I never even considered that. But tell a story. Talk about who you are. AI will come. AI will pick it up. It will be there. But it's changing so quickly. If you go optimize to be in ChatGPT tomorrow, you're going to screw up what you built with SEO. So just do it. Just do the right thing and stay focused. Pun intended, but create a scalable growth model that will persevere through where everybody is and will outlast the technology today and be relevant always.
I think a lot of it is just really to summarize. We had this conversation. We went pretty deep in our kind of prep meeting for this panel that good marketing is still good marketing. That hasn't changed. And I think it's almost a fear of missing out that keeps, my clients and frankly me up at night. And what am I missing? What else could be done that is going to help make sure I can, fill the beds and make payroll and take care of my people? And I feel like a broken record a lot of times with our clients where it's just like, stop, take a breath. Marketing is still marketing. And at its core, when you market well, the clients will come. How many of you remember what was that movie with Kevin Costner? Where he built the ballpark? Yes. So you build it, they will come. And the hard part is that waiting, that in-between stage where you're like, but what if I did this? But what if I did this? And that's just like, nope, breathe. Like, are we doing the right things well? And when we keep coming back to those right things well, the rest will come. And if we're chasing that bright, shiny object all over the place, it is a distraction. And it distracts from why we got into this in the first place, which is to help people. And not just our clients. We're helping the people we work with every day. We're providing jobs. My clients are providing amazing jobs. they're giving back to the communities through the people they hire and those families, knowing that there is a stable workplace. And it is amazing when you step back and look at it all. And that stepping back and not being in the micro, that jerks you all over the place. And that's where that stepping back, taking a breath, and remembering there's a lot of us in this room that remember when the internet showed up and the chaos that caused, and email and social media. I mean, I remember my clients going, do I really need a website? Yes, you need a website. How many people have designed a yellow page ads recently? How many remember what a yellow pages were? Okay, marketing will continue to evolve. The tools will continue to evolve. The point is still the same. We're marketing human to human. And when we create that connection the right way, it transcends technology and the tools that are going to continue to evolve. That is the fact of our life. But again, we come back to the marketing basics, and when we hit those consistently, the rest will come.
Okay. I want to switch over to talking about the tech stack that treatment centers are using and how important that is. I know we're on a lot of those calls together and making sure everything's being tracked. We have a lot of those partners in the room. And just looking at a treatment center's tech stack, what parts are really worth the investment? And then are organizations overcomplicating anything? What should we invest in for tech stacks?
I'll start with the fundamentals. Maybe I sound like a broken record, but going back to tracking attribution, when clients come on board with us, we're very adamant about you have to follow the Elevate framework. And it's not because we're arrogant or we has to be very rigid. It's because it works. It's because you need to have a lead rating system in place. And most providers have call tracking software, telephony system. We default to CTM. I think it's more technically robust, and implementing a lead rating system that doesn't necessarily have to be integrated with your CRM, which is highly recommended, but most doesn't have it and they haven't mapped it appropriately. It will make your admissions life quite easier. But when folks come to us, that's the starting point, because that lead rating and that attribution feedback loop is key to understanding, then populating that information into any dashboard that any preferred platform provider that you have to show the metrics that truly matter, right? What's your cost per lead, cost per VOB, cost per viable VOB, and cost per admit across different channels? What contributed to an admit? It's not never really only one channel once you start digging deep. So those are kind of like the foundational. Then obviously having marketing automation, so having proper nurturing at Elevate, our account managers on a weekly basis go in and take a portion of a calls. They go through a process script we have to assess how was this call managed, what was it dispositioned properly, did they follow up on the process? Because we know essentially we'll get fired if the ROI, the return on ad spend, is not in place. And so if you start digging into your own organization, you'll see that there's very often only just 2 follow-ups, right? And understanding, the world of an addict, and it's not just something you decide and you just go into treatment tomorrow, right? It's something that maybe when all the stars align is when you get into treatment. So consistency, being there, right? Text message, email, follow-ups, calls, especially when you go into Q4, and it's typically very hard for many facilities because of seasonality, and the big providers put a lot of money into Google Ads, so the Googleflation really kicks up. That's when having a good database of opportunities that never converted, you're consistently following up. So it's not just from a business standpoint, but also being there to get them, across the finish line to start the path towards recovery. I think that's critical as well. And then for me, what's something we focus a lot on right now is alumni, right? So why? Because those alumni turn into reviews, your brand ambassadors. I always challenge my clients that you have 30 discharges on a monthly basis. You had 2 reviews last month. What's up with that, right? Ask for the review early on in the stage. It will help your recovery.com profile. It will help any marketing channel. It's fuel for your AI visibility and overall trust. We're all talking about brands, so you have to invest everything in that. You can put those alumni videos. I know recovery.com has a program where they will send a video photographer to your facility and shoot a free video of your alumni if they're willing to do it. So you can publish it on your profiles, your landing pages, your website, your social media content. You can distribute it everywhere, and that really enhances trust. But furthermore, if God forbid they should relapse, instead of feeling that shame, guilt, I can't call back, nobody's been in contact, I'll contact another facility, you'll have a point of reference and they can come back and you can help them again, get back on track, which happens. 40, 60% of patients regress, right? The relapse. So it's just a statistic, right? So you need to be in front of them. And from a marketing and ROI standpoint, it's extremely sustainable. So I could probably go on for an hour. So I'll leave you with those and pass on the mic.
Yeah, I agree with what Gary said. So you need a data pipeline. At the end of the day, your data should flow from your website through your call tracking software into your CRM. The why behind it is everything that Gary talked about, the ROI. But as your digital marketing partner or your digital marketing team internally, you should know what keywords are driving admissions. You should know what pages on your website are driving the most high qualified leads. And you should optimize for all that. You should be able to understand which channel's working for you. Your phone calls are probably converting better than your forms, and your instant VOBs on your website are probably converting better than both. Your GMB is probably the best. Do you know that? And so that's the why we do it. That's why the tech stack needs to be in place. There's a lot of solutions out there. I think finding the one that works best for you, both fiscally, make sure they connect together. I agree with Gary. CTM is a little bit more robust. So as you get more sophisticated, having CTM over CallRail, but they're both great. So it's just what works for you, and just make sure they integrate well, and you have somebody that can integrate the two, because technology companies love to say they integrate with each other. And just because they pass one field of data to each other is not a true integration. I think Jeremiah and his team would probably agree with that, right? You want this really robust, deep integration and make sure that the relevant data is following through. And of course, HIPAA compliance. I'm not a lawyer, but I would probably recommend find HIPAA compliant solutions.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of really great conversations around this topic. I'm going to come at it from a little different angle and challenge you to put yourself in the shoes of your potential patient and walk through the entire patient journey and evaluate your tech stack compared to each stage of the journey. Because what happens is every bright, shiny object that comes along, every new tech opportunity that comes along says they bolt in, like these guys said, and most of the time it's like one data field, and it's not the one we need that converts. But look at your patient journey, and do you have the necessary connection points at each stage of the journey, from first touch point to first call, the insurance verification, all of the different pieces, and through the alumni piece. And I love that you brought that out, because that is a vital place. And that's often where things break down. That's where we get a little intimidated. What if they, come back? Can I still play that video? So there's a fear around reviews that can be really prohibitive. And that is one of the most vital things that we need to really connect and to provide that trust point. So whatever tech you're using isn't really as important as making sure that you have a solid touch point at every stage of the journey, because some of the tools might hit multiple parts of that journey. Or you might find you've got like 3 different tech stacks or tech pieces that are all competing in that same part of the buyer journey. And it's like, wait, why did we have all these? Are we even using this one over here? I mean, as a digital agency, the amount of times we have to audit our own tech stack, and we find subscriptions that we're just like, when was the last time? Who's using this? Crickets on Slack. It's like, wait, how long have we been paying for this? One of my favorite things my finance team has to do. So go through, but that's kind of the clearest way to do it is, can we track the calls? And once we track them, do they go into the CRM? Once they're in the CRM, what happens with them? Do we have the follow-up like Gary was talking about? Can we hit each stage in a clean, caring way that we're truly connecting with the people? And so again, the tech stack isn't as important necessarily, but affordable, and it's got to talk to each other well. And it really has to connect in a way that's seamless for the user at each stage.
So we're getting close to time. So QR code is up there. If you guys have any questions, please ask them. We have the experts up here, so I know they'd love to answer your questions. But I just, with the short amount of time we have left, what are you guys excited about? We're halfway through 2026. Looking ahead into 2027, what excites you about the space and digital marketing?
I think AI is a bittersweet thing. I think, Derek, you said it very well. It's like, I'm sick of talking about AI, but I do appreciate what it can do. I do appreciate the tool that it can be, so long as we don't advocate our thought leadership to it. So long as we're using it as a helpmeet, as a co-pilot. Microsoft was brilliant to coin that particular one for their AI. But I'm excited about that piece because I do see potential for what it can do to close the gap with being able to reach more people. But again, I'm fearful of the slide that is too easy to trip into, of using it and letting it and getting kind of lazy with it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I do think it's an exciting tool. And like many of you, I've seen a lot of tools come by in, over the years. And this one's got some great potential, but it's probably our most dangerous of all the tools in some ways. So like I said, it's a double-edged sword, but I am excited to see how many people are like, okay, yeah, AI, but how do I connect with the right people? And I'm thrilled that component is still front and center for most, and that's exciting to me.
I'm excited for the industry because, as I mentioned earlier, the reason I went into this industry was for personal reasons, having people near me that got in the hands of the wrong facilities. And that's because you could game the system. And I think that's going to stop now. I love, actually, in the beginning, last year when you asked me on the panel, I was like, I pulled the plug. That's a big discussion. I'm not going to open up for that now, but I love it from a marketing standpoint. Absolutely love it. Not to reproduce content, cut corners, or just, start plagiarizing content like we talked about, but using it strategically. Now you can get the visibility, like the brands that have good domain authority, they have established brand, they have tons of reviews, they have proven programs, they have clinical outcomes published on their websites, they're patient-centric, they have tons of alumni testimonials. The ones who are really doing the good work and can have that proof of evidence, they will get favorized on AI visibility, right? So I think that weeds out all these lead aggregators running campaigns with an unbranded landing page and out-of-state networks and talking with them for 20 minutes, trying to get them to fly across the country to another facility that they didn't think they've called in the first place. That will get combated now. So that's my encouragement to everybody, like really make marketing front and center and involve your entire team, right? Don't make alumni this one guy in the corner with no resources, right? Put a lot of money behind it, right? Make sure that the BD team is working. I call this marketing. Make sure that sales and marketing is coming together, right? And if you understand your metrics and your desired business outcomes, if you're working on improving all your metrics, whether it's your AMA rates and the proper intake process or discharging or step down, so you increase the lifetime value per patient, you can grow, and we can thereby together help more people get the care they deserve. So I'm very, very excited. We have a ton of tools I would recommend. Want to go to our website, we have like an ROI calculator, go through it. Most clients is like, come to me and ask about AI visibility. It's like, do you know your metrics in the first place? Just start there, right? If you focus on the numbers, you'll start asking the right questions. And I think we're all in a position to help more people if we take that approach. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited about the highlight that's being put on the user experience and the user journey. It used to be so fragmented. I was part of that. I've been in the space for a long time, and we just tried to get the website to rank to generate a phone call for the program. I've been in your shoes. I've been in-house at a large behavioral health organization. So the user experience journey being highlighted, I think, is a fascinating place to play. And it is cross-functional. It needs the tools to be in your CRM and through your business operations process so that you can use data to help nurture and whatever touch point in the journey. And AI is just magnifying that. I actually love AI. I know I just kind of squashed it a second ago. I use it every single day. It's great. It's an amazing tool. I think it should be used, very judiciously in the right ways. And as Gary said, from a marketing perspective, it's a game changer. Yeah, the user experience, it's huge. I'm excited at the evolution of the digital entities and websites. They've been so static for so long. Recovery.com has taken huge strides and created a more user engaging experience, which is amazing, using data to really help connect people with treatment. The next iteration of digital experiences is going to be personalized experiences. And that's what AI has done. It's given us all the opportunity to literally, I don't even Google anymore, and I'm a digital marketer. I literally talk to Gemini. I don't even type. I walk and I talk to my phone and I get answers. It's wild, right? Like 4 months ago, I was typing to Google. Now I don't even type anymore. My fingers will probably be happy, over the course of my lifetime. But what AI has done is it's shifted the way that we interact digitally, and our websites need to evolve to meet people where they are. At some point in the future, as AI becomes more of a household name and people are using it for search, your web experiences need to match that. I love that we're finally reading all the words on a website. I don't know if you guys knew this, but in May of 2026 was the first time that in the expanse of the World Wide Web, there were more robot visitors to websites than there were humans. And they predicted that in 2027, I think, was the time, and it hit in Q2 of 2026, so a year ahead of time, which is crazy. So somebody said yesterday, don't block your websites from bots. You're going to miss at least 50% of your traffic, which is very valuable. They're not spammy robots anymore like they used to be. These models that are trying to learn about you, and the fact that they're consuming all the content, all those pages of content we tried so hard to optimize over the years to get on page one. Now they're being read, which is kind of cool. It's like now your ROI is actually being magnified on the content you're creating. So create user experiences on your website, whether it's using the AI tools, it's created, doing multivariate tests to really understand what's going to resonate with people, create landing pages that are specific. But ultimately, I think the utility of AI and bringing that on your website so that a user can continue that journey through that type of engagement tool on your website. Navigation was never a thing. We did a study years ago. I think it was like less than 1% of site users, over 10 million monthly users, use the navigation. So they're not using it. That's what a toolbar, nav bar is for. So let's create experiences that are for the users that will bump up conversion rates, that will set you guys apart. Most people aren't thinking about those personalized experiences. And, all three of us, I think, use AI every single day. And the beautiful thing about this is it's all these marketers coming together, everybody that's talked up here. And, we love sharing stories and ideas with each other. And we're all great agencies. So find one. Don't, all those things that Andy talked about yesterday about schema markup and all these things. It's a lot of loaded technical jargon. This is a sales pitch for all the agencies, regardless of who we are. I would consider hiring an expert. Trying to do it in-house is just literally impossible when you have treatment programs to run and clinical operations to oversee. So I'm excited about the future.
Great. Thank you. I have a very, very quick question. This one came from the audience. If you guys can answer it in like 30 seconds. Why do I need an agency? Derek, you kind of just touched on this, but I'm a good writer and my social media team knows WordPress. Why do they need an agency?
Because you can't be specialized in everything anymore. And Gary said it really well earlier. You need to have multi-channel marketing. And so find an agency that can plug in even the areas that you're weak. If you're a great writer and you've got a great social media team, that's awesome. What about web? What about paid ads? What about video? There's a lot more out there. And so sometimes it's just about finding the agency that can complement what your team can already do. And more than likely, because the agency is the expert, they can enhance what you're already doing. And being a good writer doesn't necessarily mean you're good at writing for marketing and for SEO and for GEO and AIO. And I could go on and on with the alphabet soup. So find somebody that can complement what the holes that you have, because you're going to have some.
I'll try to make it in 30 seconds. It's hard, but I will say we work with a lot of facilities, and some of the biggest, probably top 5, they all have agencies, even though they have strong in-house teams. We collaborate well with in-house teams. And if personally I'm running a treatment center, I would constantly be testing and challenging our strategies, best practices. Remember, you go to an agency if they exclusively work with behavioral health. They have a larger data set. They know best practices. People come to us. I know which publications have topical relevancy. I have a whole directory of these. I can see which one is the best fit, which directory you should be on, podcast, you name it. So you don't get that when you're solo. So tapping into some resources, I typically say to our clients, listen, if you at any time want to part ways with us, we set everything up under your account name, credentials, email, etc. So it's your framework, it's your intellectual property. You can run with it. The minute we're not contributing value, you don't see that they're actually helping us innovate, you can cancel, right? So that would be my encouragement, is like maybe raise the bar, help more people. That's what we like to help with.
Don't hire an agency, hire a digital marketing partner like the 3 of us. At the end of the day, you need a partnership and somebody that actually understands your business, which I know all of us do. It's economies of scale. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, from a business standpoint and a P&L, you probably are a great writer, whoever asked that. And we also have tens, hundreds between the 3 of us of great writers that can produce great source content at scale. So how much can you individually write with your multiple hats, as Adrienne talked to? We can publish a page of content a day on your website if you need. That's highly relevant. It's accurate. It's sourced by keywords. It's specific to you. And it's a machine at this point. And I don't use that lightly. It's meant to be efficient. It's meant to be quality, but just one person can't do it alone. What you need to dominate in the space at this point.
Okay, thanks, y'all. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for tuning into the Elevate podcast. If you liked the content you heard today, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share this episode with somebody who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next show.